We've already gotten a bunch of third-party support on the Nintendo Switch 2, but today what I want to do is break down some of the leaks and rumors that have come out about new games coming to the Nintendo Switch 2, and maybe do a little bit of speculation about some games that I personally think are coming based on some evidence that we have. So we're going to break down a bunch of different games today. If this is your first time here on the channel, like and subscribe for more Nintendo Switch 2 stuff, but let's get into these leaks. First up, the game that literally can't stay hidden. We just keep seeing leaks and rumors about this game left, right, and center, and that's Assassin's Creed Shadows coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. So this originally started as a leak with the rating coming up regarding this game actually being rated by the PEGI system for Nintendo Switch 2. So originally this happened all the way back in April, that there was a posting regarding the rating for Assassin's Creed Shadows for the Nintendo Switch 2. However, in a more recent update, there is now a listing of Assassin's Creed Shadows spotted on a French retailer website, and this is what the box art looked like that they posted, showing it's a game keycard and that this game will be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. It's listed over on some French retailer, and we saw it. This game literally cannot escape leaks for the Switch 2. This is the worst kept secret as far as Ubisoft is concerned with the Switch 2. So at this point, this game is all but officially confirmed coming to the Nintendo Switch 2, and that is incredibly exciting. I, for one, already kind of expected this game to come. I expect really all the Assassin's Creeds to come. I expect Origins, Odyssey, Syndicate, I'm missing one, Valhalla. All of those games I already kind of expect to come to the Nintendo Switch 2. Unity, that's another one that we don't have, because all the other Assassin's Creed games, looking at the Ezio collection, looking at Assassin's Creed 3, looking at Black Flag and Rogue, those are all available on the Nintendo Switch. And I just assumed going into the Switch 2 generation that we would continue getting support for the Nintendo Switch 2 with the Assassin's Creed series, because it seems to be something that sells well on the Nintendo Switch hardware that Ubisoft likes to continue putting out on the hardware. So it just kind of made sense. So like I said, this is pretty much all but officially confirmed by Ubisoft to be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. We've already seen it twice now get leaked by the rating system as well as on this French retailer. So it's just, it's coming. It's just a matter of when they actually announce it and when it's actually coming. All right, so future Kneeckoh here, and I had to edit this in. I'd already finished this video, but more news came out about Assassin's Creed Shadows, so let's talk about it real quick. So this is from Nintendo Everything, and it looks like the Nintendo Switch 2 version of Assassin's Creed Shadows now not only has been leaked everywhere, but also has a potential release date. So on October 14th, Bill Kuhn, which was previously reported accurate retailer information, claims that the release date for Assassin's Creed Shadows is coming December 5th, 2025, the day after Metroid Prime 4. And they're stating that an announcement should be made in the near future. So once again, we have just the fact that this game is pretty much all but confirmed at this point. This game just is the worst kept secret in the history of Nintendo Switch, it feels like. Now, the next game on my list is more speculation than anything else. However, it's based on all the evidence that we have so far, that being Assassin's Creed Mirage. Now, why do I think Assassin's Creed Mirage is actually coming to the Nintendo Switch 2? Well, first off, Nate the Hate did already say in the past that we were going to be getting this game. If you don't know who Nate the Hate is, it's a known leaker in the industry. They talk a lot online and on X specifically about leaks and stuff that are coming. And they already mentioned Assassin's Creed Mirage. However, if you look at everything that's happened so far, like we just talked about Shadows, getting rated, getting leaked, all that stuff, why would it not make sense for Ubisoft to bring over Assassin's Creed Shadows and not bring over the last game in the series before Shadows, that being Assassin's Creed Mirage? That just doesn't make any sense at all, especially with the support that Assassin's Creed has gotten. On top of this, there is also the fact that there is a free DLC expansion coming to Assassin's Creed Mirage out of nowhere. No one knew this was coming. They're not even really talking about Mirage anymore. We thought that game had been left in the past, but all of a sudden we're getting this free expansion. Why would we be getting a free expansion for this game and then not want to bring it to the newest Nintendo hardware? That just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because you're leaving a lot of money on the table. Yes, you'll get people on the other platforms who maybe didn't already pick up Assassin's Creed Mirage, but you're missing out on a whole new market as far as the Switch 2 is concerned for people that would like to pick this game up. Now, for me personally, I've already platinumed Assassin's Creed Mirage on PlayStation. I played it, loved it, beat it, platinumed it. However, if this came to Nintendo Switch 2, I would totally pick it up again. And why is that? Because Ubisoft is so good about adding cross saves to their games. You can pick up a save from another platform and put it into your new platform wherever you're playing the game. And I would love to be able to pick up Assassin's Creed Mirage, boot my save over from PlayStation into my Switch 2 version and play the new expansion on the Switch 2. I think that would be absolutely fantastic in my opinion, and I think it makes a lot of sense. With that expansion coming out on November 18th, I could definitely see a shadow drop or an announcement coming very soon for that particular game, and I think that would be absolutely awesome. Mirage is a fantastic game. I loved it. It was kind of like a callback to older Assassin's Creed games like Brotherhood and those older style Black Flag games. Love that, so I would love to see it come to the Nintendo Switch 2. The next one is incredibly interesting. So I was doing a lot of research trying to find, new leaks and rumors to talk about in this particular video, and I stumbled across this one which absolutely blew my mind. That is Battlefield 6. And let me just say that Battlefield 6 is a game that I literally never thought would come to the Nintendo Switch 2. It's a game that just kind of like, it looks so graphically intense, and the stuff that they're doing in the game seems way too much for the Switch 2. However, there has been a survey that has come out that asks whether you'd play Battlefield 6 on the Switch 2. So a new survey popped up and asked players which platforms they most likely to play the system-intensive Battlefield 6 on, and it actually mentions the Switch 2. You can see the survey here. On which console would you be most likely to play and buy Battlefield 6? The game is already out. Battlefield 6 is already out on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. However, Switch is not included in that. So why would EA even be asking that the Nintendo Switch 2 an option if the game's not already there and they're not potentially thinking about bringing it to the Nintendo Switch 2? That's the most interesting part of this. It's a pretty intensive game. I've been playing it and loving it on my Xbox, but the fact that they're talking about bringing it over to the Nintendo Switch 2 is something that's incredibly exciting to me personally, just because I want to know how this game would even run. It's more of like a morbid curiosity to me to think about how Battlefield 6 would actually run on the Nintendo Switch 2. It's just a very interesting thing. This is a big rumor, not saying there's any sort of confirmation here, but it's mainly talking about the possibility that they are considering bringing Battlefield over to the Nintendo Switch 2, and I think that is incredibly interesting and really exciting. The next one's really exciting for me personally because it comes from a development team that I absolutely love. We're going to talk about Silent Hill 2 Remake. Now, this was made by Blooper Team, who just recently released Chronos: The New Dawn on the Nintendo Switch 2 and has been supporting that game continually by adding more updates, improving performance on the Switch 2. Absolutely love Chronos: The New Dawn. It is a fantastic horror game on the Switch 2. It is in my top 3 games of the year easily. Love Blooper Team, love what they do, and they've expressed in many interviews that they have a desire to bring more games to the Nintendo Switch 2 platform, and it makes sense that they would bring over Silent Hill 2 Remake that they worked on over to the Switch 2. They've already confirmed that they're even working on a Switch 2 exclusive game that should be coming next year. So this is a really interesting leak that has come out, and the reason that people are speculating that this game is actually coming is because of this update. So it says, an update to the official Silent Hill 2 Remake webpage may be an unintentional hint at the game coming to other systems. It says the official artwork of the game on this page now includes more room for additional platform listings on either side of the existing logos for Steam and PlayStation 5. As well as the visible space itself being a clue, enabling your browser's developer tools will reveal that the website also has coded blocks as seen in Patricia Substance 99 screenshots below. So there are coded blocks for new images based on, adding, an Xbox logo, adding a Nintendo Switch logo, all that fun stuff. So it seems like there's a potential for there to be some more platforms that Silent Hill 2 is coming to, and being that, Blooper Team has already expressed a lot of interest in bringing more of their games over to the Nintendo Switch 2 hardware, it would make a lot of sense that this game in particular would be making the jump to Switch 2, especially with Chronos and them getting that on the system and them being pleasantly surprised with how well Chronos was working on the Switch 2. It would make sense they want to bring their last game over to the Nintendo Switch 2 as well, make a couple extra bucks on that one to support their future projects, and that is very exciting to me as a fan of Chronos. The next games on my list are more speculation than they are based on any concrete leak or rumor that has come out regarding these two particular games, and that's Metroid Prime 2 and Metroid Prime 3 remasters. Now, the reason that I think this makes a lot of sense is being that we're getting into the prime marketing time for Metroid Prime 4. The prime marketing is likely going to pick up right at the start of November, a month out from the actual release date of Metroid Prime 4. And the big thing that leads me to believe that we're getting these games like as shadow drops or something like the original Metroid Prime remaster is that Metroid Prime 1 and 3 art book releases on October 28th. Why in the world would we be getting an art book for 2 out of 3 games that we can't even play on the Nintendo Switch 2 system? People are not familiar with these games. They didn't sell particularly well, so why would we be getting an art book for 2 out of 3 games that are included in it that aren't on the Switch hardware in any capacity? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So my prediction is that Metroid Prime 2 and 3 remasters are coming out as shadow drops the same day or maybe a week after the release of that particular art book, and they will be available on the Nintendo Switch with Switch 2 improvements, so mouse controls will likely be enabled, and I could even see Metroid Prime Remastered getting a Switch 2 improvement allowing mouse controls. Based on, you know, just them supporting mouse controls in Metroid Prime 4, it would make sense that the newest games would have that moving into the Metroid Prime hype cycle. So I think because of that art book just being there, and there being, you know, a bunch of stuff from games that we can't access on the latest Nintendo hardware, and there already being Metroid Prime 1 remastered on the Switch, it makes sense to bring the other two, get people excited for Metroid Prime 4, much like they did with Pikmin. When Pikmin 4 was dropping, they dropped the original Pikmin games on the Switch 2. You could get all the Pikmin games on Switch, and you were able to just enjoy Pikmin. I think that makes a lot of sense if they are holding on to Metroid Prime 2 and 3 to re-release as remasters, to drop them just like they did with Pikmin a month out from Metroid, get people excited, get people invested in this series, and then sell more Metroid Prime 4 units, especially, again, with that art book. The art book is the biggest thing for me that just kind of sticks out like a sore thumb and makes me think that this is coming. This is going to happen. On top of all of that, me saying all that fun stuff about the art book and everything to that effect, we do also have a leak. So as far as the release date goes, that was all me just kind of guesstimating, right? But we got a leak from Nash Weedle, known leaker in the community, and they said in the first leak of this particular post on X, all Metroid Prime games will arrive on the Nintendo Switch. Notice that does not say the Nintendo Switch 2. So that backs up my theory that these games are going to drop as Switch 1 games, potentially with Switch 2 improvements. Now, there's no release date here. There's nothing else there that indicates when all of the Metroid Prime games would be coming to the Nintendo Switch, but it makes the most sense to do this during the hype cycle for Metroid Prime 4, as well as pair it with the release of an art book containing art from the 2 games that we don't have. Moving on, we're going to talk about another game that just people are very excited about the prospect, and a lot of people think this game is just going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2, and honestly, I'm on the same page. I believe it's coming. That's Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, I would throw up some gameplay footage of Red Dead Redemption 2 or something to that effect. However, last time I threw up a trailer or something for Red Dead, Rockstar copyrighted my video, so I'm not going to do that here. We're just going to talk about it. So, Red Dead makes a lot of sense. They've already brought Red Dead 1 over to the Nintendo Switch, and it would just make sense, you know, with this continued support from Rockstar, with the GTA trilogy getting on the Switch, it would make sense that if they're working on some sort of next-gen version for Red Dead Redemption 2 for PS5 and Xbox, that they would just make a version for the Nintendo Switch 2 as well, especially showing that they like to support that system. However, we have a leak that's backing this claim. Going back over to Twitter, we had someone tweet directly at Nate the Hate 2. Are you absolutely certain with full confidence that Red Dead Redemption 2 Switch 2 and Gen 9 updates exist? Realistically, we have October and November. After that, it's likely full steam ahead on the marketing for GTA. Nate the Hate responded with, yes, they exist, and I have no update on the timing for release. So these games are happening. They know that they're coming. They just don't know when they're coming. The next 2 games on this list are more speculation, more me just guessing and talking about some stuff that just makes sense in my head. We have no official confirmation or leaks or rumors that these are coming anytime soon, but it makes the most sense. So we have Zelda Twilight Princess as well as Zelda Windwaker HD versions from the Wii U era. These will get ported to the Nintendo Switch. Why do I think that? Next year is Zelda's 40th anniversary, so it makes the most sense to me to bring back some older Zelda titles to kind of generate some hype. We've already seen an instance of this happening right now. We are in Mario's 40th anniversary, and we just got Super Mario Galaxy 1+2 bundle on the Nintendo Switch. They have improvements where they look better on the Nintendo Switch 2, but they are Switch 1 games. I could see a very similar thing happening with Twilight Princess as well as Wind Waker HD coming to the Nintendo Switch. Why do I think there'll be Switch versions and not the Nintendo Switch 2? I think it'll follow the exact same track that Mario did with Mario Galaxy, where they released the Switch 1 version, because they are still supporting Nintendo Switch at this point. We got things like Tamagotchi Life coming out next year for the Nintendo Switch. They're not done with Switch yet, and it would make sense in a year that's supposed to be exciting and celebrating Zelda to have as many people in on that celebration as possible. So what I predict will happen is that these games will either come out separately on the cartridge on their own, or they will be packed in a bundle just like Mario Galaxy was for this Mario anniversary. They'll be packed the same way for Zelda's anniversary, and we will get those on the Nintendo Switch with 4K upgrades for the Nintendo Switch 2, and we will be able to have those games because the HD remasters already exist. They just need to bring them over to the Nintendo Switch. That seems like a pretty easy feat, and I think that's a good way to send off the Switch. Next year, I predict, is the last year for the Nintendo Switch to really get concrete support from Nintendo, and then after next year, they're full steam ahead on Switch 2. I feel like this is a good way with Zelda's 40th to really say good night and goodbye to the Nintendo Switch and have a couple good banger releases like Zelda, Twilight Princess, and Windwaker, and then move on to the next thing. The next 5 games have all kind of been leaked already, and we kind of expect them to be coming very soon. These are a handful of the Lego games coming over. We've got Lego City Undercover, Lego DC Supervillains, Lego Harry Potter Collection, Lego Jurassic World, and Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. All of these games have been leaked for Switch 2 versions. How so? Now, I've already actually talked about this in the short, and this has been all over the internet at this point. We have this image from Zurich PopCon that was captured by multiple Twitter users with 5 different TT Games developed Lego titles were listed under a Switch 2 banner, those being Lego City Undercover, Lego Skywalker, Jurassic World, Harry Potter, and DC Supervillains. So it makes sense with all of these being under the Switch 2 logo that all of these games would be getting a Switch 2 upgrade to some capacity. Personally, that's really exciting to me. I really love Lego Skywalker Saga. I absolutely adore that game. Jurassic World's really fun, and I think I'd even get into the Harry Potter one. I don't know that I thought I had that one, but I don't know that I actually have that one physically now that I'm thinking about it. But I would definitely be interested in picking up those games with a Switch 2 improvement and just seeing how they run. I think that would be absolutely a blast, and I would love to revisit Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. I think that game is phenomenal and is so much fun. So a Switch 2 version would definitely be something that I'm interested in regarding those particular games. Jurassic Park is my favorite movie of all time, so a Jurassic World Switch 2 version would be a no-brainer for me personally to pick up. That would be absolutely awesome. But yeah, I think this is a really exciting leak, especially for fans of the Lego games. And what also makes sense about this is the fact that we know that Lego Batman is coming next year, and that game looks like it's absolutely fantastic. So we know they have a dev kit already to make Lego Batman, so it would make sense that they want to bring some of their older titles over and get some extra sales there. The final game we're going to talk about here in this video is a really interesting one, and that is Starfield. This was actually leaked shortly after Indiana Jones and the Great Circle was announced for the Nintendo Switch 2, and that will be coming next year. However, there was a leak from Nate the Hate that said that was not the only game that was coming for the Nintendo Switch 2 from Bethesda. So in this tweet, it says Indiana Jones and the Great Circle won't be the only Bethesda game coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026. See that planet? You can go there. Aside from landing on PS5, Starfield is planned for release on the Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026. Why do I think this makes sense? Well, we've already got Skyrim on there. We've got a handful of Bethesda games already on the Nintendo Switch. I expect there to be quite a few Bethesda games coming over to the Nintendo Switch. We've got Oblivion Remastered. I expect that game to come to the Nintendo Switch 2 at some point. It makes sense to bring Starfield. If they're already working on a PS5 version and they want to bring and make more sales on Starfield specifically, it would make sense to make a Switch 2 version, and I think it can definitely happen. I'm very much expecting this to come to the Nintendo Switch 2, and I am honestly really looking forward to it. I enjoyed Starfield when I played it on my Xbox. I never got through it all the way, but I would definitely be keen to revisit it and see how it's running on the Switch 2, and maybe even actually finish it this time around on the Switch 2. It's a game that I really enjoyed. I put a handful of hours into it and really enjoyed it. I just had so many other games come out at the time that I got distracted, left it to the side, didn't have time to actually get around to finishing it, so I would love to revisit it on the Switch 2. I think it's a really good game. But that is going to do it for my leaks and rumors for games coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. Well, there's a little speculation sprinkled in there. Let me know your thoughts on all of these games that could potentially be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. Are you excited for any of them in particular? Do you think that any are a surefire thing aside from like Assassin's Creed Shadows? I think we all know we're getting Assassin's Creed Shadows. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. But like I said, that is it for this video, guys. So if you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, and subscribe because it helps me out, helps the video out, and helps the channel out immensely. But until next time, peace.